I'm back out here on this job where we did a drainage system, and the homeowners have gotten to where they're ready to do the patio. And so Lynn and I tore this out the other day. I forgot my cameras, but I'll show you a couple of pictures. And I've got my concrete crew here, and we're going to do a stamped patio out here. So there's our pipe from before, and I don't know if you remember or not, but these homeowners chose results over looks. So the pipe looks pretty bad going across like that, but there's nowhere to take the water to out here in the backyard, and so they had to get rid of the water. And you got two stories right there, and at least half the house, or a quarter of the house I should say, coming down off this one. And so we did this last summer, I think it was, maybe last late fall. It's been almost a year. So they're ready to do some more improvements around here. So that's what we're working on today. I've got a little bit of sand rock, which is probably way too much. Got my concrete buggy and my mini bobcat with the smallest bucket on it. And when I was tearing that thing out, we barely fit through the gate, but we did fit. The patio that was here was a paver patio, and it was back grading a little bit toward the house, and so we needed to fix the drainage, and the homeowners wanted something nicer. And Lynn and I were out doing some work on this day, and wouldn't you know that I forgot the cameras, but we had a little bit of extra time, so we decided to zip over here and get this torn out. We're just going to tear this out and put it in a pile for her.
The entire brick thing?
Yep.
And that's where all the stamped concrete's going?
Yep. Along with fixing the drainage of the old patio, we are going to expand this a little bit more for the homeowners, and so that's what Mateo's getting started on here on the mini bobcat. We've got a little bit more dirt to get out of here, and then we'll be working on getting our grade right and bringing in any sand rock if needed. We got to go as high as we can. I don't know what this is.
Okay. No. Esta madre no sirvió. No. Puedes llevárselo para atrás. Es para donde está mojado, pues sí jala, pero... lo que tenga, mire, lo que tenga este de ancho. La transferimos.
How are we doing? Where was level?
We're just probably going to have to raise it up some back there. So.
It's going to be tricky.
Like you said, we just got to push the water away from the house.
Yeah, and that's it. That's all we can do. Yep.
Échamelo, güey, a puro lente de chícharo. Un nivel, güey, a una... Ah, ¿lo quieres?
So that's level there.
This is level.
So we
with
can come up quite a bit.
Yeah. Like that.
Yeah.
So we can go up. Préstame el line, bro.
I would say go up at least one more brick.
And let it go that way.
Yeah. Up to here. Get it high.
Right away in the top.
A little bit higher over there.
But we're gonna follow the elevation from this side.
Está bien, ahí tire.
You sure? Is that right?
Yeah, I'm on the mark right here.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, oh.
Let me fix it.
Yeah. Good job. It's really important when you're forming things up to get the homeowner out here, because when you start forming it up, you can actually visualize where it's going to be. And so they just came out and looked at it, and originally it went off this edge here, and they said, no, let's push it out just a little bit. So getting your homeowners out here to look at it while you're forming can be really, really helpful.
Va a tener 2 pulgadas de caída.
Huh?
It was close to the wire.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, on
You
this
should have
side.
screamed.
No, it was in the mess I used.
Okay.
Yeah, quite a bit. No,
Okay.
no.
Looks good. Everything is formed up and we are waiting for concrete. These guys like to pin the concrete to the foundation. And so they do that. I talked to the homeowners and they want to put a sauna right here. But they were a little bit worried because we've got this sloping pretty aggressively away. I think we've got about a full bubble. And so I told them they can kind of shim it up a little bit, and that was fine. We also moved this out a little bit, and I mentioned getting the homeowners out here while you're forming it up, because this is when you can really visualize where it's going to go. And if you want this thing moved over just a little bit, now's the time. So we got all that to where they wanted it, and we are waiting for concrete, I guess. So the guys just went to McDonald's. They're going to bring me back something. So I'm just kind of hanging around here by myself, waiting. Brian delivered this load of concrete, and he was supposed to call me a few minutes before he arrived so I could get some cool drone footage of the truck pulling into the neighborhood, but he forgot to call me, and so this is the best I could do, is getting the truck backing in. But the concrete's here, and we are ready to pour. The concrete just arrived, so we're trying to get ready. We've got a couple cables up here. Yeah. Can we use a form? All right, check this out. We're gonna move this internet wire out of the way. Watch this, ready? The pour is going really well so far. It's going pretty fast. And Brian's got someone in training who's operating the dumper there, the rear dumper. And so Brian's on my concrete buggy, and he likes to run mine because mine's nicer than his. Now that the concrete buggy's not going to be going across there anymore, they're going to put their form board up. What do you think of running my buggy? It's nicer than yours, isn't it?
Yeah, right. They splash so much worse.
What do you mean?
They're taller. The pivot point's so high.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Then you can dump over the form board.
You pretty much need both.
Yeah.
Perfect world. Santa Claus might have to bring it when they come.
There you go. Make sure it's got a bad engine in it.
Yeah.
Because then you can just put a new one in and go.
Safe.
Hey, you think that's it? Ryan, will you pull that thing out of there? It messes up the audio. Huh? You would never think it, but it does.
Agarraron al otro lado. Agarraron al otro lado.
He wasn't home. problem. That's the way I look at it. Wide enough space to and
See what I'll do is like that right there turned out perfect. Put that film back. But the movement I had before that was all over the place, so I'll cut that out and it'll look like it all went together.
my little niece is in the movie. Girls about you know how you know who does it. You gotta get this little girl out of the house and send the lady to kill her and kill herself. Oh really? Yeah. This guy's been kind of disturbing. My niece is such a little girl. I met him and he was like, dude, I can film this today.
Okay, the concrete is on the ground. So they're getting the truck cleaned up and we're just gonna wait for it to tighten up a little bit. All right, the concrete is out of here. So Brian's headed back to the plant for his next run.
Get ready to do the dummy.
All right. So why are we doing this dummy?
Prevent.
Okay, right across there. Concrete tends to crack on the constriction point. This is called a contraction joint, and this style is called being tooled in or being pushed in, or they're calling it a dummy joint. But a contraction joint is an artificial weak point in the concrete. So this goes down about 25% of the slab thickness, and what that does is if this concrete is going to crack, this is an artificial weak point, and so the crack will follow the joint here and it won't be spidering all over out of control and look really bad, so you won't even see it in here. And so we place this in a known weak point, which is a constriction here in the concrete while it's still wet, and that will help to alleviate any crack that happens overnight before we get back here to saw in the rest of our contraction joints. Looks good. If that concrete's gonna crack, it'll be right there on that corner. What they're doing here is they are troweling the concrete, and so after you let it set up for a little bit, you want to go in there and trowel it. You can trowel it by hand, or you can use a Fresno, and they're using a Fresno. This is a really thin Fresno right here. And what troweling does is it pushes the aggregate down, it levels out the concrete, and it brings the cream up to the top to make it a little bit easier to finish. And so my Fresno, I've got a 3-foot and a 4-foot. This is a small one they're using. That joint's tightened up a little bit, so he's going to redo it.
Ya ven casi parado. Se me no menos.
Got it?
¿Dónde? El bordo de cemento.
Okay, the guy said it's ready to start putting the release on there and the pigment. See if I can get you down there.
Pásale, güey. Métenselo acá, güey, del primero porque así está seco este lado. Uh-oh.
One more?
One more.
Damn cameras.
No, grandote, güey, una vez en la mera orilla, güey. Agárrenlo.
Agarra una punta hacia arriba, que se para arriba. No, una punta, esténlo para arriba. Una aquella punta. Esta punta. Sí. ¿Cómo lo vas a poner? Si bajamos este primero así.
No tiene que...
¿tiene?
Espérate.
¿Está bien?
No, sí, güey.
No le hace que no te
No tienen que meterlo hasta adentro, güey. Ahí donde caiga. No, quiere que caiga de madre.
Espérate. Ay, no se puede poner uno de esa pipe.
Espérate. Ahí te va.
Empújale para allá.
You need the camper?
No, este es kind of wooden.
Fíjate cómo van las letras. Se ponen bueno.
No hay pedo, güey. Vámonos. Tráiganse los grandes. Grandes. Está muy pobre de polvo, está muy bien. Fuerte, que no, ahí está. Echen otro. Levántala despacito y chécale que no haya marcado el zapato.
No. Joder, este lado viene para... El cemento no está guau. Vamos a ponerlo acá en medio, que no batalla. Es como el polito. Por eso de chocolateada, güey, tiene un chingo de humedad. Ponlo todo completo. Que como este, a mí se me hace que con esto está bien porque no se quedan. Está bien, güey, güey.
the homeowners in this case chose this natural stone texture and shape to it, pattern. And so this makes it a lot easier to install the stamping because the stamps don't have to be lined up perfectly. If you choose like a wood plank style or a brick style that has to, and all the lines have to line up, it makes installation way more expensive and way more time consuming and difficult. And stamping concrete is already just crazy expensive. I'm always embarrassed to give quotes on this stuff because it's so expensive. So it's always really nice when you get an irregular shape like this that you can do. And it just makes installing way faster. You don't have to line anything up. As long as you're pretty close, it'll look really, really good in the end. Okay, the concrete guys have done their thing, and so Brian and I will be back over here later, I think within about 6 hours, and we need to rinse off the release powder that they put on, and then I think we're also going to cut the joints. We might even seal it tonight as well. Brian said when the air temperature is going down and the concrete is still hot, that's a really good time to seal it. So we'll be back over here in a few hours. I'm just getting cleaned up, loaded up, and getting my equipment on it. The concrete guys have already taken off. They've got another job to go set up. So I'm about to be out of here. All right, we're back out here. It's been about 6 hours and the concrete's starting to tighten up. We're trying to see if we can do our early entry saw here. Is that your first time using one of these, Brian?
Yeah. God dang. Start that again. Trying to be all gentle and shit. No, it's aggravating because there's a texture to the surface.
Yeah.
Don't just go straight.
No.
You want me to try to start that thing?
Yeah, gently.
No one in his pocket.
Oh, dude. Sean's rough on the quickie. You ever met the guy?
On choke, on fuel. All right, so what are we doing, Brian?
We've cut the saw completely off. We're going to try to drop the blade back in the hole
In the kerf?
in the cut that we've already made, established.
Okay.
So we're not starting it.
And then trying to drop it in
and then
while it
trying to
cuts?
Drop it in. Okay, fire in the hole. This is the part where just grab the front of it and we're going to step it off. No, I mean, those things are great when they run right,
Yeah,
but as soon as Husqvarna got rid of Honda,
yeah.
they've had tons of trouble with them.
Yeah, that Kohler is a piece of crap right there.
Let's get some Agua natives. Grab our
It did work today, though.
That's all it took today.
All right.
Not a quickie. I like just like a battery Milwaukee, but you can't do it today
Yeah.
and finish that. But trying to just knock the dust out.
Just trying to knock the dust down right now?
Good.
Yeah, they were all wearing their masks.
Oh yeah. Okay, Nate. There we go. Okay. Well, I'm not dragging it across the top of the concrete. I'm going all the way around.
This powder is called the release, and it's got a few different functions. The first one is you saw the guys flinging it onto the wet concrete before they place a stamp on there. So it provides a barrier between the wet concrete and the stamp to release the stamp from the concrete after you stamp it. The other thing it does is you order it in whatever color you want, and so it provides coloration to the stamped concrete. And then also where it kind of gets like mashed into the concrete in the pattern, it'll stain a little bit differently, and so you'll get some depth. So there'll be some darker areas in the deeper parts and lighter areas. And so what you have to do here is you have to rinse the releaser off, and you can leave it on there for quite a while if you want to, but Brian likes to come back the same day and wash the release off. Yeah, but the tipping is probably,
That's what you gotta worry about. You ain't got enough weight on the back.
yep.
But now how high does it go? What's the clearance? 8 foot, 9 foot?
No, it's not that much. Maybe like 100 inches or so. Well, that's more than 8 feet.
Yeah.
It's
102 is nice.
8, that's 92.
yeah. It's not super high. I mean, it's a mini, you know. Do you hit that pipe too with that brush when you get there?
Oh, it'll come right out. That stuff probably yeah, it is too. Go ahead and start ripping that plastic now, mate. Huh? You got mud all over you?
Well, we're walking in there. Oh, yeah.
After Brian gets the dry powder rinsed off of here, what he's doing is he's going back over it with a fairly soft bristled brush, and he's just really eyeballing everything, and any dark areas he'll give them a little bit of a scrub, and that will get a little bit more of that release off of there and lighten it up a little bit. And so this is really just eyeing it and making it look good at this point. So he's going to work really hard on making sure everything looks even and uniform, and the coloration is looking good when we leave here. I'm back out here this morning. It's been a few days. We've been having some light rains, and so you can't put your sealer down if there's any water. And so if you check this out, all of the little cracks are now dry. And so when we came out here before, there was a little bit of water in the cracks, and we just didn't want to do it. Now there's a little tiny wet spot right here from whatever, but I brought my leaf blower, so I'll be sure to hit that. And there's a little one right here as well, so I'll hit that with the leaf blower as well. Get this cleaned up and prepped and get our first coat of sealer on here. It's very important to seal these things twice, and a lot of people will just seal them once. They'll look really good with one coat, but they won't last as long as two. The first step in sealing this stamped patio is to cut in the edges, and so you really need to take your time and do a nice job. You don't want to get any splattered on the siding or on the threshold or on the trim, and so that's what I'm going to work on now. Luckily there's not a whole lot of edge here. I want to show you what this sealer is going to do to this stamp. What it's going to do is it's going to make that color contrast really pop. Look at that. So now we will continue on. This patio is about to pop once I get all this sealer rolled on here. So let me get the drone up in the air and see if we can do a cool shot of the transformation. So here we are. Watch what happens when I get this sealer rolled on. Okay, my first coat of sealer is drying really well. And so this will make that contrast look really good. And once it's dry, I'll be back over here probably in about 24 hours for my coat number 2, my second coat. And that's the coat that really seals it in. So we'll talk more about that later. But here, this is what it looks like. I'm back out here. It's the next morning. And I'm about to get coat number 2 on this thing. So it already looks really cool. And that second coat will go a long way. So let me get that done really quickly. And then we'll be over here, I guess next week for our finish grading. Okay, I just got the second coat of sealer on here, and you can see it's already starting to dry in places, like right along there. But it's very important that you get whoever installs your stamped patio to do 2 coats of sealer. A lot of companies will just do 1 coat. 1 coat will look good for a long time, but 2 coats will look really good for even longer. So this is the time to get it done correctly. I'm back out here on this job today, and things are looking really good. So this is 24 hours after my second coat, and I've got Ronald with me today. What we're going to be doing is getting our finish grading along the edge here done. Get all that looking really good. And the other thing we've got going on, the other thing we're going to be working on today is look at what's going on here. The homeowners started putting gravel down for this fire pit on top of cardboard, and so I talked to them and said this is not going to last very long. We really need to get weed fabric under here, and so they told us to go ahead and redo this the way it's supposed to be done. So we're going to get this cardboard up and get weed fabric down, and then get the rest of this gravel spread for them for this fire pit. So we're going to work on that as well. I didn't have anything to do with this fire pit area, and so I was a little bit reluctant to mention it to the homeowners. But the more I thought about it and looked at it, I was like, I need to tell them that this cardboard is going to just turn into mush in no time. And then it's going to be a huge pain to get rid of it, and there'll be grass growing up through it. So I did mention it to them, and they were pretty much like, we were just kind of winging this and didn't really have a good plan. And so they were like, yeah, go ahead and fix it. No problem. And so I was really, really glad. And even the couple of really light rains we had, this cardboard had already started breaking down, and it was just a huge pain to get it all pulled up out of here. And of course, it was way easier than if it had just disintegrated into nothing. So it was definitely good to get this cardboard out of here and get some fabric down. We're making really good progress here. It's just a huge pain. And you can see, even with the little tiny bit of rain we got, this cardboard already turned into just mush. So this would have been a huge disaster for the homeowners. I almost didn't mention it to them because I didn't want to, you know, step on their toes or anything. But I did mention it to him. I was like, this is really not going to work. We really need to pull this cardboard out of here and put fabric down. And they were pretty much like, do it. You know, they said we didn't really have a plan to begin with, and so they were happy, real happy to have us come out here and fix this. It'll just be way easier for them in the future. This would have let the grass grow through it, and there would have been no way to get rid of it. So yeah, here we go. All right, what do you think, boss?
I think it's time to put the finishing touch on it. I think it look like something. Looking good.
Okay, we are finished with this project. So we got all of our finish grading all completed. We got 3 coats of sealer on the Stamps patio. We got the walkway cleaned up where we'd messed that up. We got all this fixed for the homeowners. And so this has got 2 layers of fabric under it now. So they won't have any problems with grass, and it'll be way easier to keep this looking really good. So yeah, Stamps patio. This was definitely an interesting concrete project. Doing stamped concrete is pretty involved, but it looks really, really good in the end. And so I've been talking to these homeowners for a little while about this project. This was a pretty big project. They had some other stuff they were doing beforehand, including the drainage system that we put in. So I'll put a link to that video in the description. You can check that out if you remember that job. But we did solve their basement flooding issue. They still had a little bit of back grading with that patio, so getting those pavers replaced with an actual patio sloping away was a big deal. And that pipe on the end, if you think that pipe looks bad, then you've probably never had drainage problems before. So before we did that pipe, there would just be a huge pond of water in the back there that would slowly drain away into their basement. And so the homeowners absolutely love that pipe. It does look bad going back there, but we got the fall we needed to push that water out to the front where it's no longer a problem. This house is surrounded on the back with other properties, and it's real flat, so we really needed to get that water completely out of there. And so we got that accomplished. All that was good. The patio looks really good. And so I was hoping to wait and sit on this video for a while and let them do their thing and decorate everything and get some pictures, but I'm just going to go ahead and push it out. So a couple things. Doing the Stamps patios like that, it really takes a lot of manpower. You have a very short window. This was a small project, but you have a short window where the concrete is ready to be stamped. And so you've got to have a lot of people, a lot of bodies on the site moving, and you also have to have a lot of stamps. So those were Brian's stamps, and that was that natural stone color. One thing I forgot to mention, he did put some gray color in the concrete truck. So that was colored concrete that we put in. Even though it looked kind of like regular concrete color, it was a little bit darker than regular concrete. So that was one thing I forgot to mention. And then the release, so you get to choose what color the concrete is, what color the release is, and they have pretty much different combinations, and especially for different styles and textures and whatever stamp you want. So this was definitely a pretty cool project, and let me know what you all think about this one. What do you think about stamped concrete? Alright, thanks for watching. Thanks again for watching this stamped patio project. Make sure you like and comment it, and that lets YouTube know that this video is worth watching and is high quality. It also is a way for you to support the channel. It doesn't cost you a thing. So thanks again for watching, and I will see you on the next one.